What's up, y'all, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. I have the two newest palettes from Kryptein Cosmetics and I am so extremely excited for these. If you are unfamiliar with Kryptein Cosmetics, they are a newer sea beauty indie brand. They launched at the beginning of this year with their Burnt Forest palette and I love and adore that palette. It ranked top 10 of my mid-year eyeshadow palette ranking. So when I saw they were coming out with two new palettes that were a little bit more colorful than their first one, I knew I had to have them. I am so incredibly excited for these. So we are going to create two looks with each of these palettes. But before we do that, let me give you close-up swatches and all of the details. Up first, we have the Atlantis palette. This one retails for $61. It is a 12-pan palette. You get 6 mattes, 4 multi-chromes, and 2 shimmers, and all of the eyeshadows in this palette are magnetic, so you can take them out, rearrange them, create BYOPs, things like that. I love this color story. I love that we have brown and blue with this pop of lavender over here, and the multi-chromes in here look absolutely gorgeous. And then we have the Violet Crazy palette. Now this one is going to retail for $59. It is also a 12-pan palette and all the shades in here are magnetic as well. This one comes with 6 mattes, 4 multi-chromes, 1 hollow multi-chrome, and 1 metallic shade that the brand describes as a glitter-like shade. I am assuming it's going to be like a pressed glitter. Not my favorite, but I'm okay with them as long as they are not super textured and chunky and they go on a little bit smooth. But this color story, this is the one that I am excited about. This is the one that I gravitate towards the most. Obviously it has pinks and purples and those little bits of neutrals over here. I cannot wait to play with this palette. But both of these palettes do come in very sturdy, like vegan leather type packaging. The color on the outside matches the color story on the inside, which I think is super helpful when you're thumbing through your collection. So you know you've got purple, you've got blue, and the Burnt Forest one has like a brown packaging to kind of match the inside of that one. But both of these palettes are currently available on the website. I will have them linked and listed down below in the description box, as well as everything else that I use to finish up these looks. So per usual, if you're ever curious about any of the products I use in any of my videos, always check down there. I squeeze as much information as I possibly can into that tiny little space. But let's go ahead and start off with showing you the looks that I made with the Atlantis palette, and then we can jump into Violet Crazy. Alright, so I want to start by playing with the Atlantis palette. This one to me is the most neutral leaning out of the two palettes. It does have a lot of neutrals in here. It has these pops of blues, and once again the shimmers in this palette are gorgeous. I have high hopes for these, but I think for the first look I want to do something with these two blue shades right here. So I'm going to start with the lighter of the two blues. This one is called Aquaman. My eyes are already primed with my Sigma eyeshadow base in the shade Ignite, so we can jump into this. But I am going to pick up that shade with a BK Beauty 212 brush, and I'm just going to start to fluff this in my crease. I'm going to build up the depth, the definition. I want to see what the color payoff is going to be of this more like pastel-y shade in here. Is it going to kind of disappear on me? Is it going to really be nice and pigmented? Can I build it up? Those are the questions that I want to answer, and that is beautiful. Nice and pigmented. Obviously you could really make this pop if you were to use like a white eyeshadow base, but I like to just go in with what I normally use for a first impression. Next, I'm going to go into this really pretty navy blue matte shade down here. This one is called Whale. I'm going to pick that up with my BK Beauty 203 brush, and I'm going to put this in my outer corner. I'm also going to bring it down onto my lower lash line as well. And then once I have this down there, I might go back with that first blue shade called Aquaman and just bring it along the rest of my lower lash line, kind of blending everything, fluffing it out, and making sure that we don't have any harsh lines. But this is going on really nicely. I am getting a little bit of fallout with that navy blue shade. I don't remember getting any fallout with the Burnt Forest palette, but that one was definitely more on the neutral side. It didn't have these pops of colors in it like this one did. All of your color in that palette came from the shimmers. But as far as building up the shade, I'm not having any issues, no patching, no skipping. These are performing exactly as I expect them to based off of what I already know from the brand. So like I said, I'm just going back with that first shade called Aquaman, same brush that I used to apply it in my crease, and I'm just fluffing this along the lower lash line, kind of blending everything out. And then I'm also going to pick up a little bit more and go right along the edge of that shade Whale and make sure that everything is seamless and we don't have any harsh lines. All right, so my lid is primed with my NYX glitter primer. Let's do some shimmer on the lid. So I'm thinking I want to go in with this really pretty multi-chrome right here. It has like a blue to a green flip to it, and I think that would look beautiful all over the lid. I definitely want to do this one over here on the inner corner, and then maybe I'll pop this one on the outer portion of my lid where that matte and that shimmer meet. We'll see how it looks when we get there, but we're going to start with this one right here, which is called Deluge. I'm going to pick this one up on my finger. This felt nice and creamy, very smooth, very soft. And we're going to put this all over the lid. Oh yeah, that is going on beautifully. It's not chunky, it's not grabbing, it's not gritty. I'm not getting any fallout with this. It's not emphasizing texture. It is just so smooth and reflective on the lid. So I think I definitely want to go in with this darker blue shimmer shade right here called Poseidon. And like I said, just pop this on the outer portion of my corner where the matte and the shimmer meet. That is so beautiful. Just to kind of blend everything right here so we have a nice seamless transition and we don't have any harsh lines. And last but not least, we're going to go into this really pretty iridescent multi-chrome shade right here called Jellyfish. I'm just going to pick this up with my Singe Beauty EO1 brush, per usual, spray it with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus, and I'm going to pop this onto the inner corner of my lid, and we can finish up this look. Ooh, that is so pretty. All right, y'all, so we have our first completed look with this palette, and I think this turned out beautiful. I love the multi-chrome on the lid. I think it is so smooth, so shifty, and it complements the rest of this look absolutely beautifully. But let me show you what I used to finish up this look so we can pop into our second look with this palette. So in my lower waterline, I went in with a ColourPop cream gel liner in the shade Prance. I lined with my ZC liquid liner and then finished it off with my Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerized mascara. But let's pop over to the other eye and do our second look because I want to do something a little bit more neutral with this palette. I know we have this purple in here, and yes, I want to play with it, but there's purples in the other palette as well. So I'm going to start with this shade right here, which is called Relic, and I'm just going to fluff this into my crease. So I'm going to pick that up with my Morphe M504 brush and just start out this look the same way I start out all of my looks. I'm just going to build this up in the crease, fluff it up and over, giving something to anchor this look down, a little shape and a little definition, and just kind of see what this shade is going to do and how it's going to perform. So next for my outer corner, I'm going to go into this deep brown shade over here. This one is called Arc. I'm going to pick it up with my BK Beauty 203. I just kind of washed it off really good, and I'm going to put this into my outer corner, and I'm going to bring it up into my crease a little bit and about halfway over. I'm also going to bring it down onto the outer portion of my lower lash line as well, basically setting up this look the same way that I set up the last one and most of my looks. Just kind of building up the shade that I want, and once I have it there, I can go back along the edges and just kind of make sure that everything is nice and blended. So I think I want to go in with a little bit of this shade right here called Stone. It's this really pretty like blackened gray shade. So I'm going to pick that up with my Morphe M506 brush, and I'm just going to see if I can build up a little bit of depth in this outer corner. I don't want it to take over and get away from me. I just want to see if there's like a big tonal difference between these two shades or if they're going to be the same depth or not. Yeah, that's definitely giving me a little something out there. Not a whole lot. You could always pull in a black from another palette, but I always like to create my looks with just the palette when I do these videos so you can see how they're going to perform. I am getting a little bit of fallout with this shade called Stone. I didn't get any with the brown shade called Arc, but I am right here just a little bit. Not as much as I did with that blue shade over here, but I always like to point that out. Alright, so I think for this look I want to add just a little bit of a pop of color on the inner corner and maybe keep it matte. So I'm going to go in with this really pretty lavender shade over here, which is called Coral. I'm going to pick this up with my BK Beauty 207 brush, and I'm just going to pop this into my inner corner and kind of give that little bit of pop of color in here. Not a whole lot, but just a little something that takes us from a boring neutral look to like neutral but spicy. Alright, it's time for the shimmer on the lid. I want to go in with this shade right here, this really pretty multi-chrome called Siren. Can you see all of those shifts in there? Like, I can't even begin to name all of them. It's got like blue, green, gold, a little bit of like a pinky orange flip to it. It's stunning. Now I'm going to put this one all over my lid. So I'm just going to pick it up with my finger, Oh yeah, look at that. Holy smokes, that is stunning. I'm gonna put this all over my lid. Oh, that is so pretty. I'm looking in the camera over here and you're seeing like this really pretty bronze, but when I look straight ahead in the mirror, I see like this green and like this bronze flip to it. I will turn down the lights like I've been doing for my past several videos so y'all can see the shifts, the sparkle, and all of that. I've really been enjoying showing that off. I hope y'all have too, but this is what we are looking like. This is going on so nicely. All right, y'all, so that is the completed look, and holy smokes, is this multi-chrome absolutely stunning. I can see all of the shifts and the shimmer as the light hits it. I can't wait for y'all to see what this one looks like with the lights turned down, but I do want to point out that this one felt a little bit more on the thicker side. It didn't feel textured or gritty. I didn't get any fallout or anything like that, but I noticed when I was putting it on my eye, it just felt a little heavy, and it's definitely emphasizing texture. I prefer a more smooth shimmer on my lid. I don't like anything that's like that. Again, it comes down to your personal preferences. It is still absolutely beautiful, but I would suggest maybe going in very lightly handed and kind of patting it on and building up to the intensity that you want instead of just going straight in for it. But it's still absolutely gorgeous. But let me show you what I used to finish off this look so we can turn down the lights and see what this looks like under like the dim lighting. So in my lower waterline, I went in with a Odin's Eye Solmane Gel Liner in the shade 008, which is lavender. I drew a blank per usual. And then I lined my lid with my ZC Liquid Liner and topped it off with my Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerize Mascara. All right, let's dive into the Violet Crazy palette. This is the one that I am most excited about, and my first look is gonna be a purple look. You knew it was coming. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with this really pretty mid-tone purple up here. This shade is called Fated. I'm gonna pick that up with a BK Beauty 201 brush, and I am just going to, per usual, fluff this into my crease, building up the depth, the definition, a little bit of shape, something to kind of start off this look and anchor it. Next, I'm going to go into this darker purple shade down here. This one is called Midnight, and I'm going to pick that up with a BK Beauty 206 brush, and I'm going to deepen up my outer corner, and I think I am going to bring this down onto my lower lash line as well. So I'm just going to go in, tap the shade where I want it, and then once I have it down and pigmented as I want it, I can go back and sort of fluff out the edges. I am getting a tiny bit of fallout with this shade as well. I'm noticing that with the darker, more colorful shades, I am getting a little bit, but as I've also learned from C Beauty, that's also a little bit inevitable. So it is what it is, but usually they just fluff away, and we'll see if this one does the same. So let's go in with a brush and just, yep, fluffs right away, no pigmentation left behind. All right, so I'm just going back with that first purple shade called Faded, and I'm bringing it along the rest of my lower lash line. I'm doing a look very similar to the first one that I did with the Atlantis palette. I'm keeping it very purple. I'm probably just gonna stick to a couple of shimmers on the lid and call it a day, but that is beautiful. I love this. Okay, let me go ahead and prime my lid with my NYX Glitter Primer so we can pop into some shimmer. All right, so for all of the lid, I'm trying to decide between these two multi-chromes right here. This one over here definitely has a little bit more of like a blue flip to it, and this one over here has more of like a gold coppery flip to it. So I'm kind of thinking maybe we'll go in with this one for all over the lid and then save this one for another look later on. And that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up the shade Blossom on my finger, and I'm going to pop this all over the lid. Look at how beautiful that is. This one picked up nice and smooth. It doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel chunky, it doesn't feel like it's gonna emphasize texture or anything like that, and it's absolutely not doing so. It is going on so incredibly smooth. All right, for the inner corner, I want to go in with this really pretty gold multi-chrome right here. My first initial thought was to go in with this one, but the more I thought about it, I want to do a pop of gold on the inner corner, so that's what we're going to do. So I am going to go ahead and pick that shade up with my Singe Beauty EO1 brush. I'm going to spray it with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus, and we're going to pop this on the inner corner, and then we can move on to our second look. So let's see what this is going to do. I don't think this is going to be a super deep based gold shade. I think it's going to be a little bit more on that translucent side, and those look beautiful on the inner corner. Yeah, I love that. All right, y'all, so this is the first look and I love it. It's purple, it's shiny, it's everything I want from an eyeshadow look and it makes me happy. But let me show you what I used to finish off this look and then we'll pop into the second look with this palette. So in my lower waterline, I went in with a Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liner in the shade Fig. I skipped out on the liquid liner mostly because I forgot, and by the time I remembered, I already had mascara on. So I just have on my Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerized mascara. But let's go ahead and do our second look. So for this one, I think we're gonna do something a little bit more on the pinky side. I know we had these neutrals over here, but I did a neutral look with the Atlantis palette. So we're gonna stick to over here, and I think I'm probably just gonna play with this quad over here. I'm realizing I started out with a quad and then we're gonna go to this quad, and then later on I'll do that quad over there. So let's dive into this really pretty pink shade over here. This one is called Affectionate. I am going to pick that up with a BK Beauty 202 brush, and I am going to fluff this into my crease, but I'm also going to bring it over into my inner corner as well and kind of give a little something for that iridescent shimmer shade to lay down on when I go to put that in the inner corner at the end. All right, so next I'm gonna go into this really pretty mauvey pink shade down here. This one is called Heartbeat. I'm gonna pick it up with my Singe Beauty EO6 brush, and I'm sure, as you have already guessed, I am going to put this into my outer corner, and I'm gonna bring this one down on my lower lash line as well, but I think I'm gonna bring it all the way across, not just halfway. All right, so I think I want to try and deepen up the outer corner just a smidge. So I'm gonna go in with this really pretty, like, dark barky brown shade over here called Eternal. I'm going to pick that up with my BK Beauty 211, and I am very softly going to pop this into the outer corner. I don't want it to take over or get away from me. I just want a little bit more depth, like right here in the very outer corner. I'm going to bring this down onto my lower lash line as well and just kind of smoke it out. Okay, so for all over the lid, I'm going to go into this really pretty holochrome shade over here. I'm pretty sure that's the holochrome. It's called The One. So I'm going to pick this one up on my finger. Yeah, that is definitely a holochrome shade. I'm going to pop this all over my lid. Like, look at how beautiful that is. I can see all of the shifts and the reflection in this shade. Again, I will turn down the light so y'all can see it, but this one is going on nice and smooth as well. This one doesn't feel heavy or chunky or textured. I'm sure if you let it get away from you, it probably could, but it still looks beautiful and smooth on the lid. And lastly, for the inner corner, I'm going to go into this really pretty iridescent shade over here. This one is called Fairy Tale. So I'm going to pick that up with my Singe Beauty EO1 brush per usual, spray it with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus, and pop this into my inner corner. And I think I might even kind of wrap it around down onto the lower lash line as well. And it should have a really pretty pink iridescence to it since I have that matte shade down. All right, y'all, so this is the final look for the video, and I love this look as well. I think both of these turned out absolutely stunning. I can't decide which one I love more, but I definitely love the way both of these looks turned out. But let me show you what I used to finish off these two looks so I can turn down the lights, show you all of the shifts and sparkle, and then we can chat about these two palettes. So in my lower waterline and on my lid, I went in with my NYX, what is this called? The Beetlejuice Pinstripe Duo Liner. This is the pink duochrome one, so I just put the cream side in my lower waterline, and then I lined my lid with the black liquid eyeliner, and then finished off the look with my Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerized mascara that I have been getting so much use out of as of late and really loving. All right, y'all, so based off of first impression, I absolutely love these palettes. I know that's jumping the gun a little bit, but based off of what I've already tried from the brand, these perform the exact same way. The mattes are creamy and buttery and so soft. You do get a little bit of kick up in the pan, and I did get some fallout with the darker shades, but it just fluffed away. It didn't leave a cast behind, but they are pigmented and they are still easy to work with. They blend out beautifully. I didn't get any patching or skipping. They didn't mud out. They didn't fluff away. They look beautiful on the lid, but the shimmers in here are are absolutely stunning. They are so shifty and just sparkly and beautiful on the lid. They have a nice reflection to them, and we got lots of different formulas in these palettes. We have multi-chromes, holochromes, we even have a pressed glitter, which isn't my favorite formula, but I will keep y'all posted on how that performs and what it feels like. Maybe it's not super gritty or anything like that, but like I said, I will keep y'all posted. But these are absolutely beautiful. I love the color stories in both of these. I love that the packaging is like very cohesive across the line. I love it when brands do that. I don't mind mixing it up, but it is very aesthetically pleasing. But let's go through these color stories really quick, because clearly I have a favorite out of the two. But first we have the Atlantis palette, and this one is so beautiful. I love the blues and the neutrals in here with this little pop of purple. I love that we got neutrals in all of their palettes. It gives a lot of variety. It kind of helps appeal to everybody, because you can absolutely do a very neutral look, or you can do something very colorful, or you can do a neutral with a pop of color. The possibilities are endless, but this multi-chrome right here, this is the one that was a little bit on the thicker side and kind of emphasized texture, but it looked absolutely stunning on the lid. And I have a feeling, like I said, that if you go in very lightly handed and just kind of build up to the intensity, you can probably kind of shear it out a little bit and make it to where it's not quite as thick and heavy on the lid. But this is a beautiful color story. But obviously my absolute favorite one is going to come down to the Violet Crazy one. This one caught my attention the minute that they sneak peeked these color stories. I knew I had to have this one if I could only snag one out of the two. I love the purples, I love the pinks. We still have our little pops of neutrals in here. And another thing that I love about these palettes that I didn't point out on the other one is that they are very thoughtfully laid out. You can absolutely go in and go by quads, or you can of course mix and match, do whatever you want, but this is a beautiful color story. I love both of the looks that I created with this palette. I love both of the looks that I created with this one as well, but this one is more my speed. This is a very me color story, and I am so happy to have it. But moral of the story is I love these palettes. They are absolutely beautiful. I love the Burnt Forest one as well. Kryptein is the first sea beauty brand that I ever tried, so they hold a very special place in my heart, but they have a fantastic formula, so that's also a good thing. But if you have your eyes on either one of these and you're contemplating whether or not you want to pick them up, I don't think you would be disappointed in the formula at all. But that is going to complete this video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. Which palette was your favorite? Which look was your favorite? Did you pick up either of these? Do you have the Burnt Forest palette? I want to know it all. Let's have that conversation. Light up that comment section. And as usual, I want to thank you all so much for watching my video and spending your time with me. It truly does mean so much to me. And if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up before you leave. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you can be notified of all my future posts here on my channel. I do post quite a few videos every single week, and I wouldn't want you to miss one. But until my next video, have a good one. Bye.